You know more about hypergamy than your own credit score. Today, we talk about what that's actually costing you. We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Happy Friday, guys. I hope you guys survived the week okay. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, right before I went live today, Restream was squawking at me that Facebook, I need to reconnect my Facebook. And when I went to go look at Facebook's completely down for everybody right now. So if you guys are normally watching live on Facebook, you're going to have to watch the replay when I upload it later. Now, pay attention for a second. A lot of guys who found the red pill 2, 3, 5 years ago are still in the same apartment, same dead-end job, same dry spell, still watching videos about why women are terrible. The information didn't fail them. They got stuck in a loop and the algorithm made sure that they stayed there. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to tell the difference between content that's building your life and content that's just recycling your anger. And if you're honest with yourself about which one you've been consuming, you're probably not going to like what you find out. But stay with me anyway. Now, this is going to springboard off of what I was talking about last Friday about the content we consume. We're going to go into it from a slightly different angle today, and we're going to talk about it from the red pill rage phase. Now, you've probably heard about red pill rage, but did you know that it's perfectly normal? And it's a part of a 5-stage process of unplugging. I've done videos about this before. Rollo did an article about it years ago, but there was another guy did an article about it as well on the old TRP subreddit that was, I think, better than Rollo's. No offense, Rollo, but his was actually, I think, a little bit better. But I'm going to incorporate a little bit of both here. But the first stage is denial, right? This is where blue pill guys are usually. These are the guys that argue with me in the comments and stuff, right? They're like, red pill is just bullshit. Right? That's where blue pill guys are. They don't believe it. They don't believe that you have to have a dominant masculine presence, and that's what women respond to. They're still like, no, you got to give her flowers, you got to sweet talk her, you got whatever, right? And then phase 2 is anger, right? That's red pill rage. So if you are always mad at women, you think women ain't shish. I'm saying shish because we're not at the 8-minute mark. But if you think, women ain't crap, and you would rather go and watch a show like Fresh and Fit and then send a $50 super chat so that you can tell one of the 304s off than you would spending $50 on some books that'll actually help you get better with women. That's probably where you're at. Okay. You're probably in the red pill rage phase. That's phase 2. Okay. That's the anger phase. Phase 3 is the bargaining phase. You guys might notice that these follow the 5 stages of grief pretty well, right? The phase 3 is bargaining. This is where you think you've got everything down. You start dating again. Maybe you start seeing progress with your wife, right? If you're married, then you fall back on old paradigms and you end up in the next stage of depression, right? That, or you start thinking that maybe this stuff might work, but you're still not good enough to get the really hot women because of the stories that you tell yourself. You end up in the next stage as well, depression. Right. Right. Now, this is where I see a lot of guys do this, right? Where they read a book, they might even read it 5 or 6 times, right? Or they read a handful of books from the space. They start seeing progress, but they do it just long enough to see that progress. And then they think they got it already. I got this, right? And I've noticed this pattern since I've been studying this stuff myself, right? One of my mentors in the space, Coach Corey Wayne, his book, How to Be a 3% Man, taught me the importance of repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. And that's why in all my books, I recommend reading them at least 10 to 15 times, because I learned that from Corey and from Bob Proctor. If you guys don't know who Bob Proctor is, Bob Proctor was a genius, but he read and reread Think and Grow Rich for like 60 plus years before he passed away. He would read a little bit every day. All right. And he did that for the rest of his life. Once that he was given that book from a guy that he knew that was well-to-do, and Bob couldn't rub two nickels together to make a dime. This guy gave him the Think and Grow Rich, and it completely fundamentally changed his life. And he became a multimillionaire, helped other guys become multimillionaires and stuff like that. But he just kept repeating that stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be like the Bob Proctor of intersexual dynamics. And so I've been studying this stuff nonstop for the last few years. One of the reasons why I started this channel, right? Just so I can always be studying this stuff. Always have a reason to be studying this stuff, And I've noticed over the years, guys will just do it long enough till they start seeing results. They fall back on old paradigms, because those old paradigms never fully go away. All right. You create these neural pathways in your brains, and a neural pathway is kind of like a path in the forest. If you guys, any of you country bumpkins out there have been out hunting, you guys probably know what a game trail is, right? It's like a game trail through the forest where the animals always go. Well, once those pathways have been created in your brain, it's really easy to keep going down those pathways. So in order to create new neural pathways to start doing things differently, it takes a lot of extra work, a lot of repetition, right? And the thing is, the old neural pathways are still there. So if you haven't beat this one down enough, because this one you've been probably wearing on for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. This one you've only been working on for a couple of weeks, couple of months, maybe a couple of years, right? It's not as beat down as this one. It's way easy for you to fall back on these old patterns. That's where guys end up in this stage, right? Where they think they've started making some progress, they stop doing the work, right? This is one of the things I fundamentally disagree with the legendary Ryan Stone with, because Ryan always tells guys, get what you need from the space and get out. And sometimes Rollo will say that too. But I disagree with it. I agree and disagree with it, right? It's good to come into the space, maybe watch the podcast and read the books and stuff like that. And then maybe stop doing that once you start seeing results, because you don't constantly need to be doing all this kind of stuff. Like, I love you guys tuning in all the time, but you don't necessarily need to do it unless you just find my laughs and shenanigans entertaining or something, right? But I would at least invite you to find like a holy trinity of books, or maybe even one really good book that you go back to at least once a year. I'd recommend that, and just keep doing that for the rest of your life, so that you never fall back on old paradigms, because you're going to end up in phase 4, which is depression. So this usually happens when you think you can use red pill tactics to fulfill your blue pilled fantasy. When that doesn't work out, you get depressed because you haven't fully swallowed the red pill. You haven't fully made it a part of who you are yet. Okay. A part of listening to this stuff on repeat, there's a reason why, Corey Wayne said to do that, why I say to do that. What you'll find is, if you listen to this stuff on repeat, it really does start seeping in to your subconscious. It starts coming out naturally. You start, like, things I say in the book, you'll start saying. You'll just do it, and you won't even think about it. It will be like a reflex. And once you get good at that, you start seeing results from that, right? It starts becoming a part of your normal everyday thing. You don't even have to think about it, right? This is where, a lot of guys in the MGTOW community or the black pill community will be like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's a lot of work. The thing is that once you do the work and you can get to a place where you've made it a part of who you are, it's effortless. Takes no effort at all. In fact, it's fun. If you might even have fun with it, right? When I started learning this stuff, I started seeing how it works. I started making it a part of who I was, a part of my personality. My whole world changed. My whole world changed. And it's not like it's even hard. I enjoy it. I enjoy my relationship with Nurse Chick. I have fun with her. We could play around, I do the cocky funny stuff constantly. She gets a kick out of it. You know what I mean? It's fun. You can have fun with it. It actually becomes an enjoyable experience. It's not work at all. The reason why you think things are work is because you hate it, right? Why do you hate sex, man? Why do you know what I mean? Like it's a silly thing to hate. Okay. Which leads us to the fifth phase of unplugging, which is acceptance. You fully embraced it. You've made the game a part of who you are. You stop hating women for what they can never be and start loving them for who they really are, right? This is why I'm always talking about, get rid of the idea of the Madonna whore complex, that kind of stuff. It does no good. You can't change anything. Get rid of the idea of holding women accountable. You're never going to hold women accountable. Just let go of that nonsense, right? A lot of that stuff in the red pill community is complete garbage. It's complete garbage. It's rage bait. It's to keep you tuning in, right? But it's fundamentally just not doing anything for you. Okay. A lot of red pill content is there to keep you away from step 5, acceptance. Okay. Not me. I'm here to guide you through the abyss, brother. That's what I'm here for. All right. Now, it's interesting because you might see the title of today's episode, Red Pill Rage, right? And you might think I'm anti-red pill, or I'm making a video about leaving the mana swamp or whatever guys do. No. I fundamentally believe in the red pill praxeology. It is a very tried and true system. It's been proven time and again by millions of guys across the internet just swapping notes. It's very effective if you use it properly and strategically, right? And you don't just take the information in and then get pissed off about it, right? Right. The reason why a lot of guys are in the red pill rage phase is because they haven't fully let go of their blue pilled ideology. Okay. And that's not a negative necessarily. Okay. It's just that we've been conditioned our whole lives to believe in the fairy tale, to believe in happily ever after, right? You meet the princess, you rescue her from the dragon, you get married, you live happily ever after. We believe that as men. We want that. And we think that's all there is. There's a mythological finish line and she just loves you forever. And that's just how it is. But it's fundamentally not true, right? And the only reason why people even can start coming around to the red pill most of the time is because they've hit rock bottom, right? Something has slapped the goggles off their face and now they're smack dab in reality. And they're like, holy crap, this isn't like nothing I ever thought before. It goes against everything you've believed. Okay. And we have this ego protection layer in our head that wants to keep the old paradigm true. And it's having a hard time believing these truisms that we talk about in the space that come from evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, and just observations. You watch women enough, you start seeing patterns, right? It's pattern recognition. So when we say, hey, this is how it actually works. This is what women respond to. Like women say they want certain things. They think they want certain things, but this is what they actually respond to. It's hard to believe that stuff at first because you're like, that's not what I think about women. I think women are these wholesome creatures that are perfect and pure and they're only ever corrupted by men's lust. But it's not true. It's not true. Just read, and I talk about it in the new book, Dick Her Down Right. I talk about Nancy Friday's book, My Secret Garden. That book will slap the beautiful princess goggles off your face so fucking fast. It's women anonymously talking about their sexual fantasies. It's like, holy shit, I didn't even think women were capable of this stuff, right? But there's a reason women buy these sleazy sex novels. There's a reason why 50 Shades of Grey sold millions of copies, right? And it was originally a self-published book. It's because women are horny as shit, okay? It's just that they don't, like, we as men with our blue-pilled fantasies think, oh, no, there's these pure women out here, right? There's these bad women over here that they're snooty sleuths, and there's these good women over here. No, they're all the same women, man, okay? So once you just understand that and you accept that, now you can start living life and actually having fun, okay? So the anger phase is normal, but it has an expiration date. When you first find the red pill, the anger makes sense because you're processing years of bad information. You've got every right to be pissed off about it. The problem isn't that you're angry. The problem is that some guys set up camp there and they start making it their whole personality. Okay. Now it's funny because I wear this red pill hat. I wear this red pill hat on the show. It's branding. Okay. It's funny because I'll put out TikToks and stuff, and guys will be like, oh, I bet he gets a lot of pussy with that hat. Well, you think I'm wearing this hat out in town? Like, no, I'm not wearing this hat out in town. You can't make red pill your whole personality. It's not a personality. It's a set of tools. Okay. It's praxeology. You got to look at it that way. It's and you could be red pill aware. All right. But going out and trying to hold women accountable and arguing with them about all this stuff it's not doing any good. It makes you look like an asshole, right? Women don't respond to that sort of thing. So it's like you can't red pill women, so don't even bother. Don't even bother. Just understand how it works and use it to your advantage, right? One of the things that I talk about a lot of woo-woo on the podcast because I'm way into that shit, right? But one of the things that I like to tell the guys at the Wolf Pack is like, look, man, even if you don't believe in, tarot, you don't believe in astrology, because I don't believe in that shit. That shit really is chick crack. But if you understand it enough, it's enough to have fun with it, the chicks believe it. And you can use that to your advantage. So I tell the guys all the time, like, man, stop being so rigid about this chick crack and that's stupid. Okay. Because the worst thing you could do is go make a girl feel like she's stupid. Right. Especially if you want to get laid. So just join into that, right? Like, and it's funny, I was telling my son about this because he's seeing a new girl, and this chick is really into my son. I like this. I'm like, this is what it feels like, and I'm telling him, I'm like, this is what it's like when you have a woman with high interest. They want your attention all the fucking time, because he had some other girls that he was dating that just. They weren't like they weren't that available. They weren't, trying to make an effort to see him and stuff. I was like, dude, you need to drop these chicks. Drop it, like they're wasting your time. You know what I mean? And you're trying to chase them around, trying to make something happen. They're just not that into you, man. Just drop them. It's okay. And I go, you want to walk through open doors. And so he found this girl who's had a crush on him for like the last 3 years. And they finally started talking. Now she wants to see him every day. And I'm like, you got pump the brakes on that. I was like, if you start seeing her every day, that gets old really quick. You need to give a little bit of space so that she can miss you, but don't let the momentum cool down too much either. Right. And so there's a game to be played. There's a dance here. Right. And so I'm teaching them this sort of stuff, but one of the things I talked to him about yesterday, I go, what, or he goes, he's told me what her birthday was. I go, what's that zodiac sign? He goes, Dad, that's chick crack. That's stupid stuff. I go, yeah. I go, but it's fun. Check this out. Let's look into this, right? And it's like, oh, she's what is she? She was a Cancer. Yeah, she was a Cancer, I think. And I'm like, okay, we'll see if they're compatible with Aries, right? Because my son's an Aries, and so I look it up real quick. I go, oh, so apparently this is what it means, right? And he's like, Dad, that's so silly. I go, yeah, but she'll eat it up. She'll eat it up. Y'all are sleeping on that woo-woo chick crack shit, man. I'm telling you. It's a panty dropper. Anyway, at some point, the anger stops being a reaction to what happened and starts being the reason that nothing changes, okay? We'll talk about that here more in a minute. By the way, guys, I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications, would you? So So the algorithm doesn't give a shit about you, okay? YouTube and TikTok are not trying to help you get your life together. They're not, okay? They're trying to keep you watching, and rage content gets more clicks than progress content. There's a reason why, if you guys follow me on TikTok, Instagram, if you watch my reels on Facebook or maybe my shorts on YouTube, you'll notice that the stuff in every one of those videos is usually edgy. It's usually polarizing. There's a reason for that. It's because that stops the scroll on short form content. Okay. So I'm not putting out that content to get guys all pissed off. What I'm trying to do, and it is pretty effective, is I am stopping the scroll for guys who are in this space, right? In the red pill rage, anger type phase. They hate women or whatever. And I got a bunch of guys that are still there. They're still stuck there, right? But there's a lot of guys that watch that stuff enough that they go, okay, let me go tune into what this guy's really saying on the full podcast. And I'm trying to lead you guys out of the abyss. I'm trying to show you how to use this information to your advantage, to be more strategic with it, okay? But the algorithms reward what people watch the most. You understand? So if I'm just out there putting out like all this helpful stuff, a lot of guys they're not going to take it. They're not going to take that information, right? I'm not going to help. I'm not going to reach the right people. Okay. The right people are guys who have at least a somewhat understanding of red pill. Some of them have never even heard of it. Right. But they're feeling a certain way. They're mad about something, right? Their wife just cheated on them or some shit. Right. And now they're feeling something, and my content, that short form content, will resonate with them, so that I'm getting guys in the right spot, so I can say, hey man, let me help you out of that. Right. There's a method to the madness. Okay. So the platforms are just rewarding what you're watching the most. So if you're all this red pill rage shit just showing up in your feed, guess what you're stopping your scroll on? The algorithm knows what you're going to watch, what you're going to click on. Okay. So the platform rewards whatever keeps you on the longest, and bitterness is a better retention tool than discipline, unfortunately. So if your feed is nothing but women or trash content and conspiracy tier takes on dating, that's really, the algorithm's not showing you the truth. It's just doing its job, showing you what you're still responding to the most. Okay. Now I'm curious, and I want you to think about this honestly before you answer. When you look at your feed right now, what percentage of it is actually making your life better versus just making you feel right about being stuck? Drop that percentage number in the chat. Just the number. You already know the answer. And if something I've said today has already made you stop and think about something in your own life, something you probably haven't wanted to look at, you can send a super chat and let me know which part landed for you. $20 gets your comment read on air and answered directly. And honestly, if what we're talking about today is worth an hour of your time, it's worth $20. Don't you think? Now, rage consumption is a comfort loop. Watching content that confirms your worst opinions about women or society gives you a hit of validation without requiring you to do anything. Now, I talked about this last week a little bit, and then the week before, the Heaven and Hell episode. I've been getting a lot of really good responses from the Heaven and Hell episodes. If you haven't watched that one, do yourself a favor today and go back and listen to that, either on Spotify or wherever you consume your podcast. Go listen to the Heaven and Hell episode from 2 weeks ago. And what I talked about was our feelings actually shape our reality, right? And I'm not doing this from a woo-woo perspective this time, but it's fundamentally how it works. Okay. You take in things, and your mind, it gets filtered through your mind, through your beliefs, experiences, your paradigms, essentially, right? And then your brain wraps a feeling around it, and then your rational mind puts justification behind it. Okay, that's the process, how it works. So if you're watching all this stuff and your beliefs have you saying, yeah, women ain't shit, women are trash, all women are cheaters, all this kind of stuff, right? Now your rational brain's going to be looking for more evidence just to support that idea. Okay. That's called confirmation bias, right? So you're just looking for more evidence of it. And so when you're stopping the scroll on this rage bait shit, you're going to stop and you're going to go, yeah, see, these hoes, these are gold diggers, like all that kind of stuff, right? That's what's going to happen. Your reticular activating system in your mind is going to point this stuff out to you more, which is just going to reinforce it, and which is going to just keep you stuck there in that anger, okay? So it's easier to agree with a YouTube video than to go to the gym, fix your finances, or have a hard conversation with your wife or your girlfriend, right? Like that is way easier to just stay pissed off scrolling on your phone than it is to fucking take some action and do something about it. Even reading a book so you understand what actions to take, right? It's way easier to just watch a 30-second TikTok video. I got an old 3% brother from the original 3% man group that this podcast came out of. And I got into a conversation with him one day, and it became very clear that he wasn't really doing the work. Because in the 3% man group, it was required to read the book 10 to 15 times, or at least even have the intention of reading it 10 to 15 times. If you were going to join the group, you had to answer a couple of questions about the book, which showed that you at least read it once, right? To even get into the group. Now with AI, guys can just, find an old PDF of it and probably run it through AI and get into the group, but it's a dead group anyway. Now, if you guys still, are from the original 3% man group and you've been in the 3% brotherhood, that's there on Facebook, which replaced it. It's a fucking dead group. Okay. If you want a more active group, get in the wolf pack. All right. It's a much more active group. We actually have conversations every day in there. It's great. But this guy was in the 3% man group, and it became very clear he wasn't doing the work. What he straight up told me one day, he's like, no, I prefer just watching TikTok videos. Like I just watch, like you are never going to fix your life watching 30-second to 1 minute long TikTok videos. You're just not, you're never going to get the full picture. Okay. That's why longer form content is better. Even if you don't ever buy one of my books, right? And you just tune into the podcast, at least if you listen to the long form content, you're getting the full picture, right? And if you go and listen to my playlist, you'll get everything that I put out there, right? You'll get everything in my books, right? But it's condensed and it's in a easier to digest form from a book, right? You don't have to go and try to piece it all together yourself if you just get the book, but you don't have to, right? You could just tune into the long form stuff, but you will never, in the history of ever, fix your fucking life watching little 30-second TikTok videos. Never. Okay. The loop, the feedback loop, the negative feedback loop feels productive because you're learning things. Maybe a lot of it's just shit you already know, right? But you're not building anything. You're just getting better at being angry. It's basically mental masturbation. You ain't doing shit with it. Okay. Now, before we go any further, real quick, everything we're talking about today, the rage loop, the stuck mindset, the guy who can't get out of his own way, that's a paradigm problem. And I wrote the book on that, literally. Psychology Paradigm is about identifying the exact mental frameworks that are keeping you operating below your potential and replacing them with something that actually serves you. The link's in the description. Go grab it now. Once you've got your head right, once you're not running on a broken operating system anymore, there's another department most men are leaving serious points on the table. And that's in the bedroom. My new book, Dick Her Down Right, recently dropped on Amazon and Audible. This isn't a book about tricks. It's about becoming the best she's ever had. Full stop. The kind of experience she's telling her friends about, whether she wants to or not. Eric Everhard wrote the foreword. If you don't know who he is, Google him. The link's in the description for all my books. Get both. Fix your mind, then Fix the bedroom, brother.
Have you ever had sex and honestly wondered, did she actually enjoy that, or was she just going along with it? Because chances are she's had better and she remembers it. What if I told you there's a way to make sure you're the one she can't stop thinking about? Most guys think good sex is about stamina or size. It's not. The men women are genuinely obsessed with aren't the biggest or the longest lasting. They're the ones who know exactly what they're doing. They're not fumbling around hoping something works. They walk in with a plan. They read her body. They control the whole experience from the first move to the last. And when it's over, she's not thinking about sleep. That's not some rare natural talent. That's a skill set, and it can be learned. Dick Her Down Right is the no-nonsense manual that breaks down exactly how women's bodies and minds work during sex, how to take charge of the experience like you actually know what you're doing, and how to become the man she's telling her friends about. Not the guy she had an okay time with, the guy she keeps coming back to, the guy she'd do almost anything to keep happy because what he does to her is in a category by itself. Every technique, every approach, every psychological principle is laid out straight. No theory, no filler, just the real information that makes the difference between average and unforgettable. Dick Her Down Right is available on Amazon or Audible now. Any man who wants to be better in bed and have any woman he's with completely hooked on him needs this book. Get it today.
Indeed. Let's take a look at the chat here. Dar Fitness in the house. My brother from another mother. Happy Friday, gents. Good to see you, man. And Eric says, here we go. Good morning, y'all. Hey, good to see you, Brother John. And Dar Fitness says, the half-life of the red pill is lifelong. You only need to take it once. Continuing to take it only keeps you in a perpetual state of red pill rage. Keeping it in front of mind is non-negotiable. Staying in Wolfpack is great for that. God damn right. I'm gonna give him this one for that one here.
I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Just for that comment. And then Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Thank God it's Friday. Yes, Nurse Chick.
I'm so naughty.
She is.
I'm gonna come.
Oh, I will.
That pussy must be ridiculous.
We're gonna find out tonight, babe. All right. What else do we got? Oh shit, $20,000 super chat from Eric. He says, I would say 10 to 20% is helpful or growth related or just fun. The rest of my feed is negative stuff about how to know if she is cheating and all that BS. It's been getting better since finding the red pill. Yeah, the problem with that is a lot of the signs that someone might be cheating. Yeah, they might be. But the thing is, now you're going to start looking for those. And if they do any one of those things, now all of a sudden your mind's telling stories and shit. Now all of a sudden you want to start looking through her phone and stuff like that. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. And then you start thinking, oh, she probably is. There's one of the things about red pill that they don't say enough, right? They make it out to be that like all women cheat. Oh, they all fucking cheat, right? They all fucking cheat. That's fundamentally not true, right? It's fundamentally not true. Now, what is true is that all women are capable. They're all capable of it. But some of them have enough restraint that they don't, right? Like there's women out there where, especially if they're older, like maybe, post-menopause, for instance, they don't have enough libido to even want to go out and cheat, right? They're just happy getting resources from you and just not fucking you. Like they're happy, right? A lot of that's very true. Rolo's been talking about that quite a bit lately. A lot of it too, I think, is because Rolo's new book, Reignite, probably touches on some of that stuff. I haven't read Reignite. But the last book I read from Rolo was The Player's Handbook. That was a fucking great book. Yeah, I highly recommend Player's Handbook. That was a good one. But yeah, and then there's women who they might still be horny, right? But they're satisfied enough reading cheesy sex novels and then diddling their bean with a vibrator, right? Like they're not out there necessarily cheating. They're getting their needs met in other ways. And then of course there are fucking cheating bitches out there, sure, right? But focusing on it isn't going to help you. It won't. It'll just keep you telling stories in your head about why she's cheating or what she might do. Like you're afraid to even, go on a business trip because she might fucking fuck some guy while you're out of town. Like that kind of stuff will impact your business life, which we're going to talk about here in a second. You know what I mean? And the thing is that now you're going to start mate guarding harder, which is going to come across as needy behavior, and that's going to push her away. Right. So it really helps you. It doesn't help you at all to focus on any of that shit. Fucking none of it. None of it. Right. Dark Fitness said, mine has been filled with it. I have had to hit not interested so much in my feed to get it to go away in the last 2 weeks. It's mind blowing. Isn't it weird? Like now that you're aware of it, now you're seeing it everywhere and you're like, fuck. And most of you guys who are watching today, and I talk about how the algorithm works and how it keeps you what you're watching the most. That's what is stopping the scroll. Like if you got weird ass shit showing up on your video, that's because you've trained the algorithm to show you that kind of stuff, right? So you've got to hit not interested and be really active to clear it of your feed, right? Or go start watching something completely different, right? Go start watching puppy videos or something and just really stay on those for a long time, because that's what's really the algorithm's looking for. They're looking for watch time. What's keeping you here the longest, right? If you stop what you're doing to fucking leave hate comments somewhere, you're literally stopping on that post. It's telling the algorithm, oh, he really fucking cares about this shit. Show him more of this shit. You understand? Yeah, that's how the algorithm works. So what you guys need to do then is, when you find one of my videos, stay there until you watch the whole video so that you get nothing but my videos. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that, but it would be awesome if you did. All right, let's move on here. Red pill rage. It can possibly actually impact your work. Okay, kind of like what I was saying to brother Eric there. Oh, and by the way, Eric did send a super chat. Let me give him let's see here. Let's give him one of these.
Shame this horse.
Yeah, and then also hold on, let's misogyny. Yeah, because we're talking about misogyny and shaming these viewers today. Okay, so it can actually impact you at work, right? So like I was saying to brother Eric there, if if you can't go on business trips because you're afraid your wife, going out of town is going to open the door for your wife to cheat, that's going to cause problems at work, right? Like you're not going to be able to effectively do the job that they need you to do. Okay, that's one. But a guy walking around with a chip on his shoulder about women in society, he's going to take that into meetings. He's going to take it into client relationships and how he handles authority, right? Like let's say you watch a lot of Aaron Clary's content. I fucking love Aaron too. He's my bro. Oh, he's my not a friend. Aaron Clary is my not a friend, so that whenever we hang out, like he can write off the interaction on taxes. We're business associates, right? But Clary often talks about HR and how HR is fucking worthless and HR ain't shit, all this kind of stuff, right? He's not wrong. HR is absolutely fucking worthless. It's not there to help the employees at all. It's there to protect the company. That's what HR is there. And it's all ran by women. Okay. So if you watch a lot of content like that talks about a bunch of shit about women and fucking HR and HR ain't shit and women ain't shit, anytime you deal with like the ladies from HR, you're going to treat them with contempt. That kind of stuff, it often comes out in your body language, in your facial expression, in your fucking, cynical tone and all that kind of stuff. It's sub-communicating that you don't fucking like them that much. And then you're going to give them the skeeves and they're not going to fucking like you. You're eventually going to become a problem at work. Okay. But that bitterness, it reads on your face, how you talk, and people make decisions about your future based on whether you know it or on that kind of stuff, whether you know it or not. Right. This will prevent you from getting raises. This will prevent you from getting more opportunities at work oftentimes, because they'll look at you like a fucking hard case, that you can't get along with people. You can't get along with women, especially. Right. You're going to be trying to hold these bitches accountable at work and shit like that. You're eventually, you're at the very least, you're not going to get all the raises that you could potentially get. You probably will get your name put on the top of the list for the chopping block if there's ever any layoffs or some shit, right? Why do you think I retired early? I'm just kidding. It wasn't that. I'm just fucking around. But these guys, the guys moving up aren't the ones who've got the most grievances. They're the ones who kept their head down and stayed focused on work, right? This is work, and they get along with people, and they can work with people. It doesn't matter what their fucking gender is, right? You can get along with them and work. See, if you truly understood Red Pill, right? Red Pill came from the pickup artist community. It was birthed out of that, right? So a lot of what we talk about in this space is not just, like holding women accountable, right? But we talk about mental frame, and we talk about game, right? And getting fit, right? Money, muscles, game, and frame. Does that ring a bell? Shout out to MLD, right? So game is basically learned charisma. It's basically social skills. It's basically being able to talk to anybody. So if you really got through your rage and you came out better on the other side and started learning some of these skills, you would actually probably move up in life. You'd probably get a better job, don't you think? If you could better negotiate, if you could build rapport with people instead of pushing them away because you're so angry all the time. There's a book that one of the guys in Wolfpack asked about game, because he and this isn't a knock on him. There's a lot of guys out here like this, especially like traditional conservative type guys, right? Where they got married like right out of high school, and I was essentially like that. I got married when I was 20 years old. I got married really young, and because I thought that's what you're supposed to do, right? And I had some bodies under my belt by that time, but I had double digits under my belt before I got married, which was a good thing. That was a blessing. That gave me some experience. A lot of these guys, though, especially Christian guys, they're virgins when they get married, because that's what the Bible told them to do. And so when that didn't work out, right, now they have a body count of 1. And now they're on the dating circuit in their 30s and 40s, having only ever been with one girl. And so like they've never really had the opportunity to learn game. You know what I mean? So we have a brother in the Wolfpack like that. And so he asked us about books on game, right? And if you want to learn game, I have a book on game. Okay. It's Everything I Wish I Knew Was 18. That's where you're going to learn all that kind of stuff. But I gave him a list of books besides that one, because I don't just hawk my books, right? I learned all this stuff from other people, so I'm happy to promote other people's books. And one of those books is very underrated when it comes to game, and that's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It came out in like the fucking 30s. It still works today. All that stuff in there, it's not even that hard, right? You just learn how to have conversations with people in a place that builds rapport, and people like you when you can build good rapport with them. You see, with rapport, anything's possible. So that's a book I would recommend if you have a hard time talking with people. Your social skills aren't that great. You want to learn how to have that learned charisma, which is what game essentially is. Get that book. It's a classic. It's fucking great. I've listened to it a couple times now. It's a great book. If you guys want to learn if you take the way I like to look at this, right, is Dale Carnegie's book is the Jedi method of influence, right? But if you want to read the 48 Laws of Power by what's his name, Robert Greene, that's like the dark side, and I would highly recommend you guys read that book as well. Read the 48 Laws of Power. It's a long one, but to me, that's the best book Robert Greene's ever done. I've read The Art of The Art of Seduction or something like that. I didn't like that book that much. I tried to read The Laws of Human Nature. I couldn't get into it. I might give that one another try here. But the 48 Laws of Power is phenomenal, and it has really fascinating stories about how Various people in history use these different tactics to gain influence and power over people, and it's very manipulative. A lot of people look at it like it's the narcissist handbook and shit, right? But you don't have to apply that stuff. But what's good about it is it brings awareness to when that kind of stuff's being done to you, right? So it's a great book. I highly recommend that one as well. Now, if you're still watching this right now, some part of you already knows this conversation is different from what you've been consuming all week. You don't have to do anything with that, but if you want to put a number on what that's worth to you today, send that number as a super chat. That helps support this show, you know. Let's see here. Boop, I'll put that up there. How's it wrecking your dating life? Well, this one's easy. This one's easy. Oh, man. Guys who are still in the red pill rage phase have no business being out in the dating circuit because they're the guys that are telling bitches off on dating apps and getting banned from dating apps, and or they'll go on a date with a girl and they don't like something about her, so they'll tell her off in the, you know, like, we'll fucking call them out. Fucking call these bitches out. Fucking shit. If you genuinely believe women are the enemy, you are going to telegraph that in every interaction you have with them. And women pick up on contempt immediately. This is why a lot of chicks don't like red pill, right? This is why you absolutely should not even mention red pill when you're out dating. Never once should that even fucking come up. Okay. And if you do start word vomiting all this fucking shit about hypergamy and whatever, you're not going to end up with that chick in your bed. You're just not. Okay. She's going to hate your ass. She's going to think you hate women and you're a misogynistic pig and shit like that. Okay. You can know all the right moves and still get nothing because your underlying attitude is louder than your technique. Now, this is a part of the problem I see with guys in dead bedroom situations, right? Because they're already frustrated that they're not getting laid, right? They're frustrated that their wife is blowing them off and all this kind of stuff. And then they keep trying to do what they've been doing their whole time, trying to game her, and she's rejecting them, which just further fuels that resentment. So then they go and they find red pill, and then red pill just makes them hate women even more. And so now they're looking at their wife with all this bitterness and contempt, and you will never fix your relationship if you fucking hate your wife. You just fucking won't. You won't. If you're holding on to all that anger and resentment, you'll never make any progress because it leaks out in everything you do. She'll say something, you'll blow back at her, you'll let her have it. One of the brothers of Wolfpack, I think he's been getting better at it, right? He's been doing the 90-day coworker challenge. And we had one guy, the first guy that made us come up with the challenge, he quit. He just couldn't hack it. He just couldn't let go of the covert contracts and trying to get his wife to do something. And all this stuff was one big covert contract to try to get his wife to do something, which is like, that'll never work. If you're doing all this stuff to get something from your wife, that's a big covert contract. It'll never fucking work. Okay. And then they'll just create more resentment, and then you're just going to hate her more. And it's just a fucking negative loop. Right. So, but this other guy, I think he must have had an epiphany or something like that. Cause what he was doing was like his wife would throw a barb at him and he would just let her have it back. And we're like, dude, that's butthurt. That's not agree and amplify. That is butthurt. Okay. That is coming out as butthurt. You got to knock that shit off, right? Because all you're doing is keeping her as an adversary, you see, and she's not your adversary. She's your wife. You married her for a reason. Okay. So you got to let that shit go. And that's what the 90-day coworker challenge in the Wolfpack is. It's really just so that you pull back from your wife, stop focusing on her so much, focus on you, right? Work on your muscles and your mindset. Because everything you're doing right now is unattractive. That's why she doesn't want to fuck you. It's because you're being unattractive. Okay. You're being a fucking asshole. Okay. Now a lot of guys think, oh, well, if I can't be a nice guy, I have to be an asshole. That's not true. All right. And a lot of guys think that, oh, women only go for assholes and stuff like that. It's like a lot of the time, the guys that they think are assholes aren't really assholes. They're just assertive. Okay. There's a difference between being assertive and being a fucking asshole. And women actually like guys who are assertive. They like a guy who doesn't get pushed around, that they can't walk all over, that they can't manipulate, right? They like that. And so nice guys look at that like asshole behavior. It's not. It's self-respect. That's all it is. And chicks respond to that very well. They don't respond to a nice guy who's being a people pleaser, that bends over backwards to make sure she's happy at his own fucking expense. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of nuance with this stuff. And you'll never understand that if you just watch fucking rage bait, fucking TikToks, right? Now, the red pill was supposed to give you better results with the women, okay? It's not, it was never really designed to give you a philosophical reason to avoid them. You understand? It was never really meant to hate them. It was, if you ever read, read the first Rational Male. Read that one, okay? Like, shout out to Rollo. He's a fucking genius. He wrote one of the best fucking books ever written. And that book is actually all available for free on his blog. If you go to therationalmale.com, all of his original book was just the first year or so of the blog. And he just compiled it all into the book, The Rational Male. Right. But one of the things that he says in there is that red pill is not about hating women. It's about not hating women for what they can never be for you, which is this blue pill fairy tale. They're not what you've built up in your mind. So what you understand with their true nature, what they actually respond to, and then respect it. It just be like, okay, I get it. I see where they're coming from. I see what they respond to. I can give that. I can give that to them, right? And I can have fun doing it. And then they get value from you. You get value from them. It's a beautiful thing. It can actually work out great. But it's not going to work out according to your blue pill fantasy. And you also have to understand that you could do everything right and she still might leave, right? So that's where you let go of attachment to outcome, okay? And then once you let go of that and you have this acceptance of, okay, it's just how it is, right? Life's great. It's fucking great. But you have to get there first, right? You have to get there first. Now, here's something I want you to notice. Every guy watching this right now is getting the same information, same concept, same breakdown, same episode. But some guys are going to do something with it, and some guys are going to close the tab and go back to the same feed that got them here in the first place. The difference isn't intelligence, it's environment. This Saturday, inside the Wolf Pack, we're doing our monthly pod class, and we're going deep on relationship game. And some of the brothers in there are a couple of months into that 90-day challenge I talked about specifically designed to fix a dead bedroom. Guys actually doing the work and reporting back in real time. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time and if you haven't tried the pack yet, you already know you should. 7 days free, nothing to lose. The link's in the chat and the description. Come see what it's like to be in a group full of guys who are actually using this information to their advantage. Bear Club? Not anymore.
Wolfpack, you fix what's broken. You lead like a man again. No pity, no therapy. Just fire, just flame. Cold bed, broken home, midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
For the love of God, too sweet me. Yes, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time, we're having our monthly pack pod class. and brother Kamal is joining me. He's one of my original 3% brothers. He's studied all this shit for as long as I've studied this shit. He and I have been swapping notes forever. Great friends. He's from Germany, and he's a wealth of knowledge. He's in the pack as well. He offers lots of guys advice, in the group, and it's just love that guy. He's so great. So we're going to talk about relationship game tomorrow, and we're going to touch on the 90-day coworker challenge. And then I also had an epiphany yesterday that Luca, that I talk about in my books, Listen, Understand, Clarity, Action. It's something I got from Paul Benjamin from Apex Mindset. Shout out to Paul. But I realized yesterday that there's like a way to make it infinitely powerful, right? And I'm going to talk about that a little bit on the pod class tomorrow. But you can essentially use that with conversational hypnosis to fucking make your wife putty in your hands. We'll talk about that tomorrow. You guys, if you guys aren't in the pack yet, fucking join now, okay? Let's take a look at the chat real quick. I got to get through these last bullet points relatively quick. I went over a couple of weeks ago when my housekeeper came, and she ended up going back home because I went almost 2 hours. I forgot that she was waiting outside, so she went back home. So I called her and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I went over, on the podcast, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I can come back." So I had to give her an extra tip just for coming back. I don't want to do that again today. Brother John says there's a huge difference between being a nice guy and a good guy. That's true. And it's weird because you wouldn't think so. You would think it's just semantics, but it's not semantics, because when you're a nice guy, you're actually anything but nice. It's a lot of it's covert contract type stuff. You're trying to do everything to keep the peace, and you're bottling up all this resentment and shit because you're giving everything away, expecting stuff. And yeah, it's nice guy syndrome, right? There's the difference between nice guy and a good man, right? Nice guys do things expecting an outcome, covert contracts. Good guys do things because it falls into their goals, personal wants, right? And then if you don't fucking want to do it, you're not afraid to say, "No, I'm not going to do that." Now I'll take a pass on that one, right? Like, nothing wrong with that shit. All right. Relationship damage you don't notice until it's too late. So I'm not going to go too much into this one, but because we talked about it the last couple of weeks, right? But if you keep watching all this stuff, you got all this resentment, it's going to show up in how you look at your wife or your girlfriend and stuff like that. And one of the things I talked about 2 weeks ago was how near the end of my marriage, one thing that it wasn't the catalyst for the end of the marriage, but it definitely didn't help, was I every day on my commute home, I would listen to Tom Likas. If you guys don't know who Tom Likas is, he used to be a sort of a shock jock talk show host on the radio, and he used to have a show out of LA, and that guy was married like fucking 7 times. He has to pay all these women alimony. So his whole show was about how women are only gold diggers and don't get married and all this kind of stuff, right? And so I would listen to that on the way home, already just thinking in my head about how my wife's a gold digger and all this kind of shit, right? And so then I would get home and I just had the story built up in my head, and so I immediately walked in the house ready for a fight every time. You understand? And it was because of the lens that I was seeing her through, because of this kind of shit, right? It didn't help. It didn't help at all. Okay. So you might not even realize that that's what's happening, right? We have a brother in the pack that had a fucking major epiphany about this sort of thing. And he went back and listened to that episode, the Heaven and Hell episode, twice, I think. And he was like, "Holy shit, this is exactly what I've been doing." And he's been looking at his wife differently for the last 2 weeks. And he's like, "This is amazing." And then he was having all this fun with his one of his kids. And he was like, "God, I think I've been missing out on all this shit because I've been fucking walking around with a chip on my shoulder, all pissed off for so long." It's like, yeah, you're coming out of it, bro. You're coming out of it. And that's great. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's what I want for everybody. I want everyone to take this information and come out better on the other side. You know what I mean? Don't you say sorry, damn it. Look, I was sorry. I apologize. I said my apologies to her, but I was genuinely, apologetic because I fucking wasted her time. I fucked up. It's okay to apologize if you fucked up. You know what I mean? All right. Social media. That's on my list here. You see, you got to follow me on the social media. Follow me on Substack, man. People have actually been really enjoying my articles on Substack. If you guys haven't checked them out, you can do that. If you go to the link in the description, there's a link to my Substack there. You can read a couple of my articles. You might enjoy those too. Okay. The difference between content that builds and the content that confirms. Building content gives you something to do tomorrow, gives you an action that you can take. Confirming content just tells you that your current situation is someone else's fault, right? You're a fucking victim. They keep you in a victim mindset, victim mentality. The thing is, when you're a victim, you're fucking powerless. You are giving up your power to do anything about it. There's nothing I can do. It's all them, right? But you're not powerless. You're not a fucking victim. Okay. I invite you guys to look at anything that happened negative in your life, not as a victim, not from a victim mentality, but from a what did I learn from that? So I know not to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Ask yourself after any video that you watch, do I know something I can act on, or do I just know one more reason to be angry? Right? That's one of the things I was telling my mom, because my mom's like, she is so caught up in politics, right? Politics is nasty. It's nasty and negative, and it's dirty. It's dirty. And even at the level, like local county level, my mom is involved at the local county level. The other party's always suing the local party. The local party's always suing the other one. They're dragging these fuckers into court all the time. They're mudslinging all the time in the newspapers. It's negative as fuck. It doesn't solve anything, right? And so one of the things I was telling my mom was, I was like, Mom, you can see this stuff everywhere. Once you understand the manipulation game, the propaganda game, a great series. I recommend you guys do this, especially if like Dar Fitness, for instance, right? You have your own business. Go on YouTube and look up Russell Brunson. Look up Russell Brunson. And Brother Nathan, if you're listening, go watch Russell Brunson stuff. Read his books. Expert Secrets, Traffic Secrets, and .com Secrets. Read all three of those books. Fucking fundamentally change your mind about everything, right? But he's been having a series lately where he's been talking about propaganda and Edward Bernays. And Edward Bernays is the guy who basically invented propaganda. And you'll see it once you understand what they're doing. If you just watch Russell's stuff, he walks you through what all these people are doing and the propaganda machine behind it. You'll see it everywhere. Everything is there to manipulate your mind. Okay. And so one of the things I told my mom is when you're watching something like the news, your TikTok feed or whatever, just look at it and go, how did this make me feel? Did this make me feel angry? Did this make me feel upset? Did this make me feel like worried about something? What kind of emotion were they trying to evoke from me? Okay. Because that's how they control you, through your emotions. We all think we're rational, but we're not. We're emotional, and then we justify our actions after the fact based on how we feel. Do you see? So if you're watching a bunch of shit that's making you feel negative, you got to question it because it's not helpful. Okay. Now, one reason why people do that is because people will exert more effort to run away from pain than they will to go towards pleasure. Okay. You will spend more effort running away from pain than you will going toward pleasure. So if you watch a lot of advertisements, they're trying to evoke some kind of pain. They're trying to point out a problem that you have, right? Sometimes you don't even realize you have a problem until you see one of these things. You're like, oh shit, I didn't know I had this problem, right? Oh, and by the way, my product's the solution to your problem, right? That's how it works. Okay. So you got to ask yourself, is this just making me angry, or is this giving me some kind of solution? All right. If the creator's entire catalog is grievance with no practical application, it's not education. Okay. That's entertainment. That's entertainment that disguised to keep you drawn in. I'll say this. There's, I I don't know if this guy has any other products. And I don't want to name names because I'm not trying to get into a mudslinging competition with some of these guys, but there's a MGTOW channel out there. And anytime I've ever tuned in, which is usually because he's like shitting on one of the Rule Zero guys or whatever, and the Rule Zero guys pointed out to me. So I'll tune in for a little bit to see what he's saying. And he's not giving guys any tools to fix their lives. He's just, women ain't shit, and they commiserate. And oh, by the way, join my my locals, right? Because it's kind of like Patreon or whatever. Join my locals so we can all hang out and watch movies and play video games and talk shit about women, right? Like that's all he's offering. Oh, and by the way, buy my fucking hoodies and whatever. It's like he wants to keep you there bitching about women, because if you actually find something that gets you out of that, he loses a viewer. Right. Anyway, identity capture. Some guys stop being a person with red pill knowledge and start being a red pill guy. The whole identity gets organized around being a red pill guy. Right. That's why those damn red pill guys. Now, I would say I would categorize myself as a red pill guy because I'm a red pill content creator. Right. But I don't walk around talking to other people about red pill. I don't do that. Most people don't want to hear it. You can't red pill your friends, so it makes no fucking sense to bring it up to people. People find their way to the red pill. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I put out advertising and stuff for my books or whatever, but people are already in pain when they find that shit. Okay. So your worldview becomes your personality. You stop being curious and you stop growing because everything that challenges your frame gets dismissed as blue-pilled cope. You're allowed to take the useful parts of a praxeology without building your entire self-concept around it. Okay. And that's what I would invite you to do. That's what, like, anyone that I would say most people that come from Rule Zero or who are still on Rule Zero, that's what they want at the end of the day. They want to give you tools from the praxeology that you can use to your advantage, right? We're not there trying to create an identity for you, all right? And there's a grift. There's a grift behind the rage. A lot of the creators feeding you the most extreme content have a financial incentive to keep you outraged and coming back, not to see you get your life handled. Okay. Like if you look at, and I mentioned them once already because this is just their business model. I'm not trying to shit on them, right? But Fresh and Fit, right? The Fresh and Fit guys, they've had some record-breaking episodes. When I say record-breaking, I mean of super chats. Like they've gotten, I think they still hold the record of shows with the most super chats. Okay. Because what happens is these red pill rage guys are like, they will spend shitloads of money in super chats to hold these women accountable, tell these bitches off, hey, Frank Castle, that bitch, give her a White Claw, throw her off the podcast. Here's $50, right? And they'll do that kind of shit. And then they'll turn around and subscribe to these chicks OnlyFans, right? So these chicks go on there knowing perfectly well that they're going to get talked down to. The guys are going to send super chats to hold them accountable, but they're going to walk away with, 50 new subscribers, 100 new subscribers and shit like that. They're walking away laughing at all you guys that are just mad at them, thinking you're holding them accountable. You're fucking not. Okay. If you want to send a super chat, send it to my channel, man. At least I'm helping you. Okay. The guys who are actually doing well, they don't spend 2 hours a day watching content about how bad everything is. They're too busy building something. Okay. This is why I say, like, a true MGTOW guy wouldn't be in my comments bitching about how happy he is about being single and how great it is being single because these fucking bitches, right? He wouldn't be doing that shit in the comments if he was truly happy and living his best life and really going his own way. He wouldn't be online at all, probably. But he's stuck there being mad about women, watching MGTOW content, right? So what does the exit look like? You don't have to abandon red pill thinking to stop being defined by the worst parts of it. The information doesn't expire, okay? But the rage has to. You have to let that go. The guys who get the most out of this material are the ones who took it as a starting point. They didn't stay there. It's not a destination, okay? They used the tools to accomplish goals, right? If the content you're consuming isn't making you better at your job, better in your relationship, better at your goals, it's taking something from you. Okay. There's a reason why at the beginning of every show, I say, I help men level up and get better with women. The funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. That includes work. That includes your family life. That includes your social interactions with other people. It includes like how you handle your finances and shit like that, right? Like once you understand all this stuff and you start using it and creating goals for yourself and actually doing the work, okay, your life will immensely improve, right? The choice is yours. Do you want to just be pissed off all the time, or you want to go out there and live a fucking great, awesome life? Okay. Think about that, guys. And while you're thinking about that, tune into the podcast on Monday. We just wrapped up my Keep Your Bitch. The titles of my books are specifically designed to evoke an emotion. Keep Your Bitch. Okay. We just finished that up on this last Monday. So next Monday, we're going to start my Dick Her Down Right series, where I'm going to go through this book, the concepts in each chapter by chapter. And Monday, we are starting with the mindset of a sexual Tyrannosaurus, baby. I hope you guys are tune into that one. You guys are going to have fun with it. I'm going to have to be really careful about what I say, because anytime I talk about what's in this fucking book, YouTube fucking demonetizes me. So you guys are also going to have to send some super chats and shit. Brother Eric says, self-respect, courage, and integrity look good on a man. Robert A. Glover, no more Mr. Nice Guy. That Dr. Glover is one of my fucking mentors. Hell yeah. I agree with that. That's a great That's a great quote. The time spent in red pill rage could be spent investing in things that build you. Paul's content particularly. I'm also working on learning Spanish. Whatever you do, listen to stuff with a return on investment. Absolutely. And then I know who you're talking about. Keeping you pissed and sucked into the abyss. It's nuts. It's like quicksand. It is like quicksand too, right? Good to see. Good seeing you climbing out of that shit. Good to see you climbing out of that shit, brother. Smash a like is alpha, guys. By the way, I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday. Oh, and if you join the Wolf Pack, we'll see you tomorrow morning for the pod class.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.